6-shot MA here with the Smith Wesson 617-6 in 4-inch barrel. This will be a discussion on things that I really like about this firearm, some things that I don't, and also some factory issues I have. So I would like to hear from you guys with your experience on these, especially in the comment section. Is yours a lemon from the factory? Was it not? Did you have it sent in? What was your experience with that? And just overall, any thoughts would be helpful and beneficial to anyone that's trying to purchase these, and to myself, just to know what you guys think. This will be the first video of, I'm thinking multiple. This is the prior to sending to factory, and I'm sure I'll be making a follow-up. Let's start with things I do like about the gun, simply because the last video I made was about a 3-inch Colt Python I have with a bunch of factory issues as well. Or a couple factory issues and just some other things that I thought are not value-minded of them. But anyways, let's start with things I do like. The 10-shot cylinder, 10-shot recessed cylinder, I really like that. For 22, it helps with, target shooting. Get more rounds, reload less, and shoot a whole bunch of 22, which is cheap already, and everyone, wants to just squeeze the trigger a lot on these. So I do like the recessed 10-shot cylinder. I also like the balance of this firearm. I've always been a fan of heavier all-steel stuff, of course, with revolvers. That's what you're getting every time, pretty much. I feel like it's well balanced. I like the full underlug, the thicker, or not thicker barrel here, but since the barrel is a normal L-frame size, or 357 Magnum size barrel, but only bored down to 22, it provides a little extra weight. And not only that, it would be great practice for something like this, the 686, which also has a full underlug. Now I know these barrels are two different sizes, but you get a lot more practice out of something like this, being as how I've been finding ammo about 5 or 6 cents a round, with here 38 specials been 40 to 50 cents a round, with 357 sitting around maybe 60 to 70 cents right now. So you get a lot more practice out of this, and it kind of trains you to shoot this, because in a lot of ways this is all the same, just different calibers here. So it is nice being able to shoot this much more, and it's a very fun gun. One thing I can't say badly about this, it has to be one of the funnest things I own, for sure. And I've always just been a fan of full-size and steel firearms in general, in comparison to the plastic Fantastics. I love carrying my 686s and other things like that, J-frames, and I carry it all, but this has never bothered me. I know some people don't like the weight or the heft or the width of the cylinder, and they have plenty of problems with complaining about stuff, but it's never bothered me. I'm 6 feet, 180, so I'm no burly, muscle-bound man or scrawny fuck or fat man or anything. I'm pretty just, average American sized, for lack of better words, and it's never bothered me. I like stuff like this a lot for carry. Not that I carry this one, because I don't. But it's still good practice for my carry gun. Alright, what else do we got here? At first, I was a little weirded out by the fluting in the cylinder, just because there's one like every half inch here for the 10 rounds, but I've actually come to like the look of that a lot more. And it feels, in general, just like they didn't skimp out on parts here. Now, I will delve into some problems with parts after I get past what I like, but it all feels like there is a certain level of quality to it. What else do I like here? Sorry, guys, I'm reading off some notes, so excuse me if I have short pauses. Just kind of lost where I was, but... Oh, also, the trigger pull. I've heard a lot of bad things about these in single and double action, with the trigger pulls being a 22 and needing maybe a little bit heavier of the hammer spring and everything to get constant ignition. But this thing, it really has a great trigger, and I haven't had much problems with ignition. I know 22 is a little finicky, of course, and every once in a while you do get a dud, or you do get one that you might have to stamp again in single action to get it to go off. But for what it's worth, like I would say 95%, maybe 1 out of 20 doesn't go, and I'm pretty happy with that for a 22 revolver. And like I said, a lot of people talking about the bad the bad triggers in single and double action. The 617 and my Model 18, I feel like both have great triggers, and are even light years ahead of my Colt Python, which you can go watch that video if you want to hear me bitch about that thing. But that is not a talk for right now. I am going to get into the bad now. First, I'll start with the bad that I feel like is more of my personal gripes, and then I'll talk about some factory issues that are absolutely just issues that need to be resolved in general. But first, for the ones that I think is just kind of personal to me, first off, being the round butt. Now, I know they kind of discontinued and stopped making a lot of square butt stuff, I think sometime in the 90s. But being as this is a target revolver, because I don't really see anyone carrying this. I know I'm not, and I don't really expect anyone to. It'd be nice to have a square butt, be able to put some nice wood stocks on here, or come from the factory with some, speed loader cut, or some sort of, I don't know, some square butt nice stocks. Everyone, I think, can appreciate some nice square butt target stocks, especially on a gun of this size and heft. And then not only that, but the tapered cylinder release. This is another thing I just don't like. I like the original, more circular style cylinder release. I feel like you get a better purchase on it. Just overall looks better. Which leads me also right into this thing next to the cylinder release. The keyhole, the key lock here, just ew. Nobody likes that. I don't have to explain that. And I guess going back, also, one other thing I don't like that's personal, like I said, with the square butt, nice target grips. This is all, it's got to be a target revolver to anyone, or it is a target revolver to everyone, so give me a nice target trigger, give me a nice big target hammer, give me some target grips. It's not like people aren't spending the coin on something like this as it is already. I'm sure if it came with those features, people would even spend a little bit more, and I know I would. But enough about stuff that's my personal gripes, and let's get into some actual bad things about the gun that absolutely do need to be addressed and that you need to look out for. First, it's out of timing on a bunch of the chambers on the cylinder. I just pre-recorded, or not pre-recorded, but I just tried to record this video once prior, and the video was like 19 minutes long, so I'm trying to concise stuff now, but I'll see if I can get it to do it. It wasn't doing it much on the last video, of course, but let's do it in single action here. Okay, of course I'm not gonna do it. There we go. So, hammer back. You heard the click. That's out of timing. Yeah. So that's a problem, not only with single action, but also if you're the kind of person that likes to stage the trigger, which I don't really believe in. It is a problem in single and double action, of course, because it being a timing issue, that's just kind of how it works. It's not going to do it for me here, but I can guarantee you that it is an issue. Alright, I'm not going to waste too much time. One last try here. Okay, well, either way, in single and double action, I've had timing issues with this thing. Now, I've learned to kind of just boom the hammer back quick in single action, and that you know, that leads to it not being a problem. It'll lock up every time before the hammer's back. And in double action, I've always kind of been trained to just do one smooth pull all the way through and not stage the trigger. I feel like staging the trigger, it kind of leads to bad habits, but to each his own. Regardless, bad timing. The next thing being another big problem is that, I don't know if this is going to pick up as well, you might have to take my word for it, it shaves lead. And this is part of the reason why I didn't clean it. And going back to the last thing, yes, this thing is out of timing when it's all the way clean to. It's not an issue of it being gunked up and the cylinder not having the space to rotate and things getting caught up. This thing can be showroom clean, and it still shows the same issues with the timing. So that's obviously a problem. Let's just see. Sorry, guys, I keep putting my fat fingers in there. That is a pretty decent amount of lead built up, as well as this side. It's all here. So it's a bunch of lead buildup. So shaving lead, that's not good. Out of timing, not good. And the third being, look at that canted barrel. Oh my. I mean, it's not something that you got to pull a micrometer out. It might not show up on camera that well, but it's off. Pretty good bit. I would say 4 to 5 degrees, if I had to guess. So I don't know if all these problems tie together in some way. I'm not sure if the canted barrel is leading the lead shaving. It being out of timing is obviously probably doing that in some ways. So I'm sure they do tie in. And like I said, even though this pistol does have issues like that, I've enjoyed shooting it a lot. I don't dislike it. I don't plan on selling it. And I am excited to get it back from the factory and see kind of what comes of it. So that's why I would appreciate you guys to tell me if you have had any problems with yours from the factory, what your experience what your experience is with sending revolvers into Smith, be it this one or others. Were the problems all fixed when it came back, or did you have to send it twice? Because I've heard reports of these having to be sent back twice before. And overall, were you just happy with your purchase? Like I said, there's a lot of things I like about it. There's some personal things that I don't really care for, but aren't game-changing. But with this particular firearm, I'm not saying everyone's, but with this one, there are definitely some factory issues that need to get looked at. So I'm curious to hear about everyone's experience in that sense. And I have a couple notes here, so I'm going to go silent and just make sure I didn't miss anything. And if you guys haven't seen any of my other videos, please go check that out. I definitely, I'm curious about this, but as well as a Colt Python experience. If you guys go to my other video and you have one of those and you have any experience with what's going on with the new production Colt Pythons, I'd like to hear about that as well. I definitely was more gripey with that thing than I am with this, even though this has more signs of kind of more major issues than that thing does. I don't know. I was just complaining more about the Python is kind of what I'm getting to. But I think that is about all I have to say about this one. So, yeah. This is the 617-6 6-shot MA, and hopefully in a few weeks or a few months from now, I'll have a follow-up video on hopefully this thing being fixed. So, thank you for watching, guys. 6-shot MA out.